Okay, well, let me put my paperwork away here and we will call the meeting to order. And stand for the flag salute. So Keith, why don't you lead us tonight?
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. You know, I organized everything so carefully. And then I put it in my briefcase and it's like I can't find a single thing. Okay, welcome and announcements. Does anyone have any announcements? Anything happening? The newsletter, did it have anything in there that the board? We had our bazaar, PTO had a bazaar.
Booster Club.
PCIA is having an owl night, or is that over?
We had one, we're having another one this Friday.
In December?
This Friday.
Okay. Not much else going on. There will be a giving tree, I understand, if somebody would like to come up to the lobby at some point to participate in that program. And then there's a canned food drive, right? Okay, that's the only announcements I can think of right now. Let's go on to, we do want to make sure that the public understands if you would like a copy of something, especially the policies, let us know and one of us will be happy to make copies. So let's go over the agenda. One thing that's different that we made a decision on last time is if you turn to page 2, you'll see we have, we're going to be discussing the policies and then we have a public comment session in case the public would like to comment on that or anything else, of course, and then we move to policy approval. I have an A and B under new business or good for the order, but we don't have to modify the policy for that. But I would like to ask everyone to please stay and hopefully we won't go real late for item 12. Because I think that depending what you bring up, Kelly, we'll want to set a date maybe for a strategic planning, but we'll probably formally wait till the new members come on board at this point. And then we also just need to set a new date for the January and February regular meeting. So we'll probably do all that at the December meeting, but it's something for everybody to be thinking about. I wrote down holiday cheer. Maybe somebody will make some cookies.
I tried, they were awful, I didn't bring them.
Well, for the December meeting though, that was just practice, right?
I did, I practiced, it didn't go well. There's a area of
make
opportunity in my cookie baking game, I'll try again.
You know, if you just put enough frosting on, nobody knows the difference.
My son took a bite and threw it away and
Oh.
She made healthy cookies. You don't make healthy cookies.
Yeah,
Just,
we'll try again,
Cookies are dessert.
see,
So-
not healthy.
we'll try again.
Not necessary to be healthy.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's go on. Does anyone have any corrections or additions to agenda other than I didn't make any changes. I just clarified a few things. Okay, well, let's, the board will take a motion, board chair will take a motion to approve the agenda as presented to us.
Also moved.
Okay, second.
Also,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we will move home with the agenda printed and presented to us. All in favor say aye. Aye. It's approved. Let's go on to the consent agenda. Everybody find the minutes. No problem, but I just wonder why in the budget report, we only have the revenue side.
All that.
Yeah, I
was
just have a-
reported.
Okay.
I don't know.
So,
I never
I don't-
found it.
I don't know if it just got really quiet or if that was all. that
Oh,
was-
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It just surprised me.
Yeah.
Well, the percent progress, the percent spent or the percent received is something we always look at, but.
Yeah. they don't have
Yeah,
that one.
And so under there,
It's so
I
early
did
in the
note
year.
down that
Yeah.
budget total on the revenue side is 8.4%. It's really not a complete sentence. It should say. Expenditures to date on the revenue side or something to that effect. We're just reviewing the minutes, Eric.
Well,
Good
it's
evening.
not extended.
It's as cold outside as you look like you think it's outside.
I am very warm.
agree. It's-
I hope I don't stink.
Oh, I'll bring my little oil thing over. If
Just
you
do it,
say
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll take it.
And then I have on, item 6A, the second sentence, voting will be tabled until the new board members until the
Oh.
November meeting. We did talk about tabling these until the new board members
Yeah,
Yeah.
in office
yeah,
or until the next meeting. The rest of them, or until the superintendent returns. The rest of them say until the superintendent returns.
Yeah, that was, cause it was really confusing in the
It
reporting,
was.
and then we talked about it Monday and I put both in, and then we never clarified which was. So,
well, the discussion had been that because of the nature of it, we wanted the new board members to.
Mhm.
Right.
give
So
their-
The way
so
it-
the new board members, okay.
Yeah, so what we could do is either. We could do a real simple but major change that says policy 3241 and policy 2420 and policy 1310 are postponed until December.
Okay.
And that takes all that other stuff out of there.
Perfect.
Or till the December meeting. Okay. And then if you wanted, you could say when the newly elected board directors will take office. That if a stranger reads it, they know why.
Okay.
Does anybody have any other corrections or additions to the minutes? Okay, we'll go on to AP vouchers, other things. In here somewhere. They will. Invoice listing. Please feel free to speak up if you have a question on any of the invoices. Looks like there's a few today, quite a few pages. We're getting rolling for this new year here that's going along.
I would hope so.
Yeah, we did pass the second month. Time is going fast. Anything you want to point out to us, Kelly, that is different or?
Oh, I think we're getting everything all set for the year, so as usual, there's more expenditures up front. A lot of Amazon shopping happening.
On the 12th, did they get to go to the field trip at all? There was supposed to be a field trip with Liz.
Yes, there was a field trip,
Okay, good. So it worked out.
yes. There have been a lot of field trips. I had scanning through my mind to remember which one we were talking about.
Okay. The one, the bus.
We ended up using a approved second like parent driver.
Oh, okay, good.
A and J Select, that's a lot of tea for your tea time. 270.
Fancy tea.
Huh?
Only the best for for our families.
I guess I have stuff that I'll copy.
The bus had to be repaired.
Yeah, the buses had some work out here recently. You know. Just all of it's been, regular maintenance type stuff.
Okay, no questions or comments regarding, consent agenda? Let me read off what we have, and if you have any questions, we could go over those, or, then we could move to approval of the entire consent agenda. We have our, AP vouchers, approving payments of $21,719.90. And then we have, called that payroll. These are all the, payroll deductions and things like that for $166,673.11. Then we have a general fund check for $3.59, which is one of those comp tax things that shows up. Not every time, I don't know how often that shows up, but not very often. And I can't even articulate what it is.
What was it?
$3.89. I've seen it, we've seen it before.
Yeah, I think that's basically when we have to pay, the equivalent of what sales tax would have been for something. Like
Yeah.
that, if we would pay sales tax.
And then there's a second comp tax for $49.17. And, they both have the same thing. It's, no. Of, this says 1/4 24, this says 3rd quarter 25.
One was late, Kristen found it going through some stuff, and it was late,
Oh, okay,
and so she went ahead and paid it now.
okay. Okay, so we have one from last year
Right.
and then the 1st quarter, so it's quarterly, but those two come in there. And then the total for actual payroll for all of our staff is $121,472.03. So that's what's on our payroll and vouchers. And then we have the minutes as we discussed. Comments, questions? Motion for approval?
So,
I'll make that motion.
second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the items on the consent agenda. Are there any further discussions or questions?
with the minutes as amended.
The consent agenda, yes, it includes the minutes as amended, which has either 6 review of policies amended to say that policy 3241, 2420, and 1310 have been postponed until the December meeting when our newly elected directors will be seated. Are seated.
Okay.
You vote? Yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. I said aye too. So these will be in the signature folder when the signature folder comes around.
Doesn't put me in this one.
I should make sure. Place to be right here.
Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. Thank you for joining us tonight. Anyone have any comments?
I'm all good, thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to the budget report. And I did bring something before we start that, just so everyone is aware. But at our last meeting, we discussed our contingency fund. And I verified with Kristen the situation regarding our contingency fund. And we also talked about if we overspend a particular category, what that means. And then we talked about, do we have a contingent fund on the revenue side? And no, we don't, because of course, revenue, we don't have any control over. We budget for what our best estimate is of what the state will be bringing in. And then we manage our expenditures to not overrun and go higher than our revenues. So this is what she sent me in an email, just so that you have it. I thought I'd put it there. I did. Gonna give a copy to you, John, just
Oh,
in
I'd love
case.
this, yeah, thank you, my pleasure. Thank you.
John is here as our newly elected, but not yet signed the oath, board member. But I will just say that our newly elected board member Jones has not been feeling well. In fact, I believe she's still in the hospital, but I think will be home tomorrow.
Oh, good.
So.
No, didn't.
Pardon?
Jessica wants me to talk so that the camera comes off of her over to me, but instead it's coming.
So not fair.
So we're 2 months into the year, and as we were last month, our expenditures are a little higher than revenues, which is not unusual for this time of year. Is that correct?
That's correct. We've got, curriculum that we purchased, equipment that we purchased, a lot of supplies that we purchased, all of that comes up front. I also, want to point out something on page 2. There are some funds in, a restricted category, restricted for carryover. And Kristen and I have been talking about how this, carryover has continued to build. And again, this year, it looks like there's more going in than what we have slated to spend. And it is for professional development. And so the plan is to extend some of what we are covering for certificated staff's professional development as far as like conferences and things that they want to go to beyond the district that would qualify. So we do plan on trying to spend that down a little bit to help our staff gain some knowledge and then better support our students.
So that's money that is earmarked
It-
from the state when it comes to us?
Yes, it is restricted for use. It is the only thing we can use it for. It has grown over the last several years. It covers like the state mandated professional development days that are part of a supplemental contract. And then there are other professional development things that we can use it for. We can use it to purchase like supplies for in-house and things like that, but we can also support some of the registration fees for staff that are going to other types of professional development. So we have some staffs that are willing to cover their travel to places like New Orleans, and all sorts of things for national conferences where they will go and gain knowledge to bring back and support our students. So it's really, really exciting things. And if we can help make that happen through those funds, I thought that would be really good. If they would go.
Is that available for board education as well? Board
I
members?
do not believe so. I believe it is only for certificated staff because it is the fund.
Certificated, okay, wonderful. Okay. Questions on our budget status report?
There you go. You're up, sweet.
Okay, let's move on to, our fall data report.
Oof, oh, no. Oh, I need to go, yeah.
Did you join?
So we're gonna try something different today. Let's see how well it works. Click on my Zoom, get this into the agenda. And I'll just share them before. That's long. I'm sorry.
That's okay, I just didn't have it filled out because.
It is linked in. Is it? You want me to share it with you again?
Maybe. I think, yeah, maybe.
Or if you go into slides and just search,
Did you share the slides with me?
I did. I shared them with both you and the board of clerks. Should be, if you just search, MASD data report, it should come up.
So let's report this one.
That one.
Okay, now let me screen share it.
I'm supposed to look at the camera.
No, it says smile or you're in.
Oh. Hi.
We thought it would be all fancy and having me do it today, but it's not, so we're going on school. I will say it is a little bit longer than normal because I had some information for you last month and then I added what I would have shared this month, so bear with me. So I have our fall data report and I also have information about our continuous improvement work that we're doing. And they're tied directly together. So we'll kind of go through both of those. We'll start with the fall data. So PCIA enrollment, our total enrollment is 20 students. The breakdown is shown there. We did lose more 11th graders than anticipated. And part of that was for extracurricular opportunities. And then our MAS K-8 total is sitting at 37. Had a couple of enrollment changes since the start of the year. So you can see we were projected at 39, and we landed at 37. So our K2 class is still has the lowest, and that is by design, as our new teacher kind of gets her feet under her. That is giving her the opportunity to really get in and hone her craft on a 3-grade blend, which is a pretty unique thing. And then again, PCI's actual versus projected. Our 9th grade class came in right where we thought it would be. The main change was in that 11th grade loss of students that we weren't able to recapture. Okay, so the fall assessment, where is the data coming from? So thanks to the adoption of iReady, we were able to do the iReady diagnostic in English language arts, and we decided to administer K-8 plus 9th and 10th grade for PCIA, so that we could start with some rolling data with our PCIA assessments. We also conducted the core phonics screener in all of our K-8 students that were below grade level after the diagnostic. And then we did the same thing in math with the iReady diagnostic for grades K through 10. The things that are tested in that are phonological awareness is for K2, phonics is K8, high frequency words, vocabulary is K10, literature and informational text comprehension are also K10. In math, it covers the 4 domains: numbers and operations, algebra, algebraic thinking, measurement data, and geometry. So it's quite comprehensive. And then here are outcomes. So I tried to use bright colors so that it was easier to see this time, because I know it's not always really easy to read. But again, the blue are students who are mid or above grade level, and this is reading. Green are students who are coming in like early onset of grade level. And then yellow is students who would be like 1 grade level below. So think about an incoming like 7th grader who's reading at a 6th grade level. They're not truly behind, they're like right there. So the yellow is not an area of concern. That just says like, I just started 7th grade and I'm reading like a 6th grader, right? When we get into the reds, now we're talking about 2 grade levels below for the lighter red, and the darker red is 3 or more grade levels below. So this is our reading results for fall for MIL A, K8, and then for PCIA. So you can see the vast majority of students are either at grade level or 1 grade level below to start the year. And then the same 40% of our students are above plus 10. So 50% of our students are at or above, with another 20%. So 70% here. So we're starting in really good position.
Good.
Yeah. This is just the same information basically presented in a pie graph because it's pretty. Okay, so what do we do with all of that? So what we do with all of that is we use our multi-tiered systems of support. Tier 1 is core instruction. That is what every student receives. And so we're using the newly adopted curriculum, iReady Reading in small group, and Haggerty, which helps us with our phonics, phonemic awareness, and other foundational skills.
Haggerty is phonics in?
It's phonemic awareness. So it is the off the page sounds. So it is, it's really, students really enjoy it. It's basically playing word games, helping them manipulate what they're hearing and the sounds that they're hearing. For students who are reading below grade level, they receive additional support that's known as tier 2. Also using newly adopted curriculum there with the ECRI enhanced for reading instruction. And the iReady personalized pathways, which is a component of the new reading curriculum that we adopted. It is a set of lessons that are based directly on the student's diagnostic results. So it is both a scaffold and an extension for our students who came in above grade level. And then we also are using a program called Read Theory, which is what our intervention team is really doing most of their data tracking on. And we'll be using that to look at student progress over 6-week cycles. For students who need beyond that, they fall into what's known as tier 3 or intensive support. And those are our students who are getting individualized education plans or special education services. And so that is very specially designed curriculum.
So time just flies. Is this our 2nd year of iReady Reading and our 3rd year of math, or is this our first
2nd
year
of math and first of reading?
That's what
We
I'm
just
thinking
rolled it
was.
out.
Yes, so
What's nice
is teachers liking that
I,
these results so they can really focus on what's
Yeah.
needed?
so, our new K2 teacher was familiar with it. She actually taught me some things about it, which was great. And, 3-5 is also using the reading. In middle school, is continuing on with like novel studies and other things like that. So it's really more K5 for the ELA portion that we adopted. But for our elementary students, it means that they are seeing a more consistent platform with their testing, with their interventions, and things like that. And the data is all housed together. So it's great.
So this is basically applying to K-4,
This is actually, this structure applies to K-12.
K-12, okay.
Yeah. The interventions at tier 2 look different based on where they're at. The
Sure.
read theory is available all the way through K-8, and we don't have any students who are receiving this level of reading intervention right now at the PCIA level. For math, very similar outcome. Again, blue is mid or above, green is at, yellow is one below. Math is also really tricky in the fall because like the domains can be, maybe we didn't get to geometry last spring, and so the students have a little bit of a gap. But the fact that we're starting with such a significant number of our students, either yellow, green, or blue, means that we're in a really good place. We don't have as many gaps as we did in the past. The PCIA distribution is a little bit different, and we'll talk about that here in a moment because we do have some interventions happening in math for our PCIA students. Yeah, here's just a pretty pie graph because, why not? Okay, so same multi-tiered systems of support. Because MTSS is a framework upon which everything else kind of falls. So all students are receiving grade level math instruction in their classroom. They're getting, K-8 is getting iReady as their curriculum. They're also getting additional fluency practice. And then at the high school level, it depends on what math course they're in, what the curriculum is. Students who showed a need for additional math supports are using the iReady personalized pathways for the recommended time each week. Teachers have different ways of building that in. It really hones in on the gaps. And then for our PCIA students, we actually added a guided math study hall with Dr. Harb. And so they are getting both iReady personalized pathways instruction and support directly from Dr. Harb 4 days a week.
How many students estimate does he have in his study hall?
In that particular study hall,
Well, just so, in the areas where he's going to be able to give guidance to
it is-
particular students.
in that class, it is only students receiving tier 2 intervention from him. So they are either working on their iReady personalized pathways for math, or they're working directly with him. He's kind of going around and ensuring that every student is getting
So
what
so the situation is so that he doesn't have so many students that somebody gets missed. He can talk to all students in that
Yes.
period of time.
that period is
Okay.
specifically for him to work with the few students who needed that additional support. So,
And that's just PCIA.
and it's just, yes, and then the K-8 is having theirs in different ways, yeah. But that was a new addition this year, is some of these really targeted study halls. All right, so if a student, let's say, is struggling with algebra, who would be the best person to support them with algebra? Well, it would be the math teacher.
Right.
And so he has the option of, if the majority of the students who are in that supported study hall all missed the same concept, he can reteach it. He can work with students in small groups, individual. He has a lot of flexibility, but the point is that each time they enter that room, they're working on math and trying to close some of their knowledge gaps. And then also with MTSS, there's tier 3 for any students who have individual education plan for that. Okay. Attendance. Like I said, I had this ready for you last month, so we've got quite a bit of attendance data. On the left is a distribution of student attendance for the entire 24-25 school year. So it's all 180 days. The attendance average was 90.5. However, only 75% of students reached 90% or better.
So what are we? What's the bottom axis? Is that time by
It's
month or is that grade or?
It's just students. It's just like randomly, like each one of these dots represents a student in
Oh, I
no
see.
particular order.
Got it. So we have one student that was
We
there.
have an we have an
Those
outlier,
outliers were, yeah, got it.
right? So what you can see though, like here, there are a few more, a little bit, the dots are a little bit lower. Remember, this is over 180 days, so each absence impacts the overall less than it does at the 30-day mark, right? So the goal is to have 90% of our students attending 90% or better. We were at 75. After the first 30 school days, the average PCIA attendance was 91.2, with 77% of students at 90% or better. Again, right, we have an outlier.
Are
Sure.
these strictly full day absences or do they include tardiness?
They include absences, not tardies, but like periods count as well. So the way the way it gets reported to the state. This comes from
Or
our
it's
state
not
report.
day, it's like class, okay.
Was there like flu bugs going around where a lot of people were missing?
Not at this point.
Not at this point.
Not, this was 30 school days. But when we move on to the next slide, this is as of today, and the average is at 89.57. So you can see we still have an outlier, but we have what I would consider two outliers at this point.
So not information for the board, or we don't need a slide or anything. Are you looking at various connections in absences related to classwork performance or anything like that?
We sure are, Anita. And that's why today's report is a little bit longer than it would have been last month,
Oh, okay.
because
We
that's
have
where
to
we
get-
would have ended last month. However, I have some additional data for you today. So we've also been running, this one's a little bit more confusing. We've also been running Google Classroom analytics. Most of our instructors at PCIA use Google Classroom. So it's a pretty solid indication of what's going on. So we've been running a report that gives us a bunch of information, and it is looking at all of the numbers from August on. So from August until September 22nd, the assignment completion rate was 86%. So of all the assignments that were due in Google Classroom, 86 had been completed. The average grade was 88. The percentage of assignments that were graded was 78, because, it takes teachers a couple days to get around to grading them. But the last 7-day of assignment completion was only 70. Okay, so total completed was 86% of all assignments that had been assigned. But assignment completion within the last 70 days was 70%. That trend has continued. The numbers don't really look a whole lot different as of today. So when we ran the information, and again, it's looking at all assignments since August, 88% are complete. Class average is still 88% for grades. Percentage of assignments that are already graded, teachers are doing an awesome job of keeping up, they're at 86%. But only 70% of the assignments were done in the last week, which means kids are doing their work late. They're turning it in late. They're letting it stack up.
So the day refers to the day it was due. Is that right?
Yeah.
And we have all these study halls, right?
We do.
So, one of the things I read, it's kind of like, happy employees do quality work. happy kids do quality work, I guess. So the PCIA get to know each other thing, do you think that'll help?
I hope so.
Well, it seems like it'll help kids create an environment where they want to come to school. But every home is different.
So is
I
that,
mean, every time I wake up, I go, oh my God, do I know how many kids are up and actually on a school bus and I'm just opening my eyes?
So I think one of the things that we're seeing, is we're seeing the benefits of the shift to a 7-period day. And we're seeing the challenges of changing the way we're asking students to work. Right, so we're seeing that the work is the same amount of work over a semester. The chunks are smaller. And they're due sooner. That's an adjustment. Our students who have not done it differently are doing just fine. Our students who are adjusting to it are having an adjustment period. So, for example, instead of giving a student a chapter to read and it being due in 4 days, you might give them 15 pages to read and have it due for discussion the next day. So we're asking students to really be good time managers and we're having to support them through that. Does that make sense?
So when do you anticipate having another report to the board? And my reason I'm asking is the holidays could have an impact. And so maybe we don't want one till you get some good.
Yeah, so we'll do another diagnostic for reading and math in January. And some of these other analytics, I think we should look at in February or March again.
This might sound stupid, but do you think some of the kids aren't designed to have this long of a school day and stuff? When I was in school, I remember staring out the window, wishing I was outside. I was bored to death, with schoolwork and stuff. And then they'd send you home with homework. I ain't doing that. You had me all day. You teach me what you're gonna teach me while I'm here. And I think that's a lot of kids are that way.
Yeah, I think depending on, I think there is a lot of information available on the appropriateness of work outside of the school day at different ages. So I think it's a very mixed answer. I know that our younger students don't get homework. Our older students in middle school often will have homework if they didn't complete something or maybe a small amount, but our PCIe students do have homework, and a lot of that is because many of them are taking college credits. And that would be a very appropriate thing, would be for them to do work outside of the classroom if they're gaining college credit.
Do we have a percentage of our PCIA students whose goals include significant college credits by the end of the 4 years?
Have you seen my slideshow? Like, do you
No.
know what is coming next?
No, I didn't see yours.
so
There
my,
it is.
my question on that, like 70% of assignments. What percent of students are getting their stuff done on time? And what percent of students are,
You know what, I don't have the actual, I have an anecdotal answer, so I'm gonna hold it.
okay,
I can bring that next time.
okay,
Yeah,
because then like raw assignments kind of it tells part of the story.
right, and so, I think what would be good to look at with that would be percentage of students, and I don't know if I can capture this data, but percentage of students with some threshold of missing assignments
Sure.
last year versus this year, because
That's okay.
anecdotally, what I can tell you is that we have some students who are chronically struggling, and we have some students who have improved, and we have some students who have always done well. Right? We also rolled out 11 students and rolled in,
Sure,
right? So there's some of that, but I can say that some of our students who have chronically struggled are still struggling. Some of our students who are maybe on the cusp are for the most part starting to do better.
Okay.
I believe that the 30-day grading period and some of our late policies are having a very positive impact. I had the opportunity to support one of our instructors by, coming in and supporting a unit. And it's part of a paired unit with the community college, like, we have to submit evidence to them as part of having this partnership and issuing college credit. And in that, the community college's syllabus says no late work, right? No late work accepted. And it goes on to say some things that are maybe a little condescending, not ours, but there says like, my dad didn't let me use my computer is not an excuse. It literally says that. And so in kind of supporting them and like, we're gonna do this like we would do it there. We're not like no late work. You have 4 days. And the first time that happened, we had a few people miss it. And they were like, well, I was busy. That's unfortunate. There's no late work accepted. I'm like, it's okay. It's a very small point total for your overall points. I believe it will not have a significant impact. Let's not do it again. Over the course of this unit, the number of missing assignments has dramatically diminished. So I think what we have is we have some work to do on our climate and our culture.
Yep.
But we have students who are highly capable.
Well, and I would think that moving to shorter windows should help, right? Because they're at an age where students are learning to, oh, I think this will take me 3 hours, and it takes 10, or whatever, right? And so the smaller the window, the smaller your mistake, the more likelihood we can correct for that mistake.
The research and the data support having more frequent, shorter class periods for adolescents.
Yeah.
Adults do better with longer stints and they don't transition as well. Adolescents don't do as well staying focused for 2 hours at a time. 50 minutes, 60 minutes is supported by data. And the thing is, I want to be really clear, it's going to take some time, especially for upperclassmen who have done it one way for a long time. And now we have switched on them, but our incoming students are not struggling the same way our students who have built different habits. So I'm gonna continue to give you the data and, you know, be very open and honest about it, but I'm also gonna ask for some grace as we transition through supporting students who've done it for 3 years one way.
So I guess the trade-off is the students are having more things at once for a longer period of time, but at a slower pace. Is that?
Yeah. And if you think about the courses that we're offering at the college level, they are quarter classes, which would be if they took the class at the partner college, it would be a 10-week course plus
Right.
finals. We're offering it to them over 21 weeks. So we are giving them college level instruction at a secondary pace.
You
So-
know, I think some kids don't understand that.
Oh, they
do now?
don't. We're working on that. That is a message that I've been really working hard to deliver. And saying like, we're walking you into it. However, it's important that we're very clear and transparent that, especially for our seniors, when they graduate and they go on to college, they will be sitting in a classroom with people who did the coursework in half the time, and they'll be used to that. And so we really need to support our students in getting comfortable doing homework and having work completed on time, because as they move on, they're going to come across syllabi that say, no late work, I don't care if your computer died. Like it actually said that, like, right? And they're gonna have that, not every class, but they need to be ready for it.
And we'll always have that mix, so that's why at some point somewhere, teachers or the district are looking at an individual student's improvement rather than where they fall on a chart.
Correct. That's what our MTSS. Okay. Students who need additional support, yeah. So in kind of thinking about PCIA and how we're moving kids towards graduation, I pulled together some post-graduation outcomes for PCIA graduates. And so I was able to get information on 25 students that have graduated from PCIA. 2019 through 2024, and they are in no particular order. So they're not categorized by year or anything like that. But we can see out of 25 students, 18 pursued post-secondary education, whether they are currently or not. So 72% of PCI graduates enrolled in some type of post-secondary education, whether it was 4-year, 2-year, or trade school. Out of those, 9 are currently enrolled. 4 have completed a degree or program, either 4-year or 2-year or trade school. And 5 students, 20% started but did not complete and are no longer enrolled in secondary education. 5 out of 20 students did not pursue, or 5 out of 25, so 20% did not pursue post-secondary at all and went straight into the workforce. And then 2 students enlisted in the military. So I'm really proud of the fact that we have such a high percentage of students attempting post-secondary. I am finding that I have some wonderings about the 20% that started that didn't. Because we are offering students a head start. And I think that might play into some of the conversations that we need to have as a district about who are we and where are we going? And what do we want to do? So it created a lot of questions for me. That I hope that we get a chance to ponder over the coming months.
So would it help us to know, like, did they not have the funding? Did they get married and move away? I mean, does that make any difference to us as a district in our planning, just to try to make sure that those 5 students, that everything we did gave them the ability to make the best decision for them?
Well, I think that's what we're gonna have to dig into at some point, because we don't, like, right, they might have made the right decision for them, but that's what we want. It doesn't necessarily, I don't believe that everyone needs to complete post-secondary education. It's not necessarily like a requirement of having a highly successful, happy life, but it should be their choice. They should be making that decision based on what they want, not on not being prepared. And so I think we probably at some point are gonna need to dig in, which is why I wanted to include some information about what the building leadership team has been doing and kind of where the board might come into play on this.
So that's about half of, like, 60% of people who start college finish it. And so when we were at 20%, about 40% drop out of college without finishing it in the general population. So a question about whether we could do better is great, but just for context, it's much better than like the general population entering college.
Correct. I don't know the statistics off the top of my head about when the average person usually stops pursuing college.
Sure.
And what I'm wondering is if we're sending students off who are nearly in their 3rd year of college or starting as juniors and they're not finishing.
Could it be a 10-month program and you're giving her and then the 20 and.
Yeah, so are we, do we need, like, I think that we could take a lens and say, are we sending them off completely prepared? Like, right, that's my question. Are we sending them off completely prepared? I'm not saying we're not, I'm just saying it made me wonder, like, what can we do? Because we should always be reflective on how we can improve. And it made me wonder, do we need to do better about messaging? Hey, next year, when you go to college, you'll complete this information in 10 weeks. We did it for you in 20. Be prepared. This is how you can be prepared. This is like, right, this is what it will look like. This is what that next step is. Especially as they're stepping in to junior level coursework where it gets very challenging.
And at the junior level, for those doing that, that's where they have to declare a major. And they may or may not have the freshman and sophomore classes they need to declare the major they want. Is that possible? Not
Usually,
likely.
no, because we
Okay.
offer the transfer degree, they should be able to go straight into, they may have a prereq here or there, but they should be pretty ready to.
Okay,
And that is part of the new high school and beyond plan is helping support some of that, and we're doing a really good job of making sure if they need a course to get into a specific, college within a university, that we're doing everything that we can to do that. I just found myself wondering if our work completion, is an area that we're looking at improving. And then our college completion is an area that we're looking at improving. What's the correlation? What's the connection there? Is there any? And how can we do better? How can we do better by students?
And any of these kids that have dropped out of the whole college scene, have any of them gone into trade schools?
From the information I have, if they would have enrolled in a trade school, I would have labeled it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so they went into the workforce after not completing the program they started.
I personally am not really all that keen on college.
Again, I'm, as someone who did not get my college degree until I was like 40 years old and I had a wonderful first career. I'm not going to say that everyone needs to do that. I think there are a lot of great ways to have a very happy, fulfilled life.
It all
But if
depends
it's
on what you want.
if it's what you want to pursue, I want to make sure that we set them up to be successful.
Yeah. I used to work with these two, they're electrical engineers. $120,000 in debt to get their MBAs, right? I made way more money than them. Way more money. And in fact, so much more money that one of them decided when I left my job, he took it. He didn't need an MBA, he didn't need electrical engineering to take my job, and he started making more money. So, kind of show you that debt isn't
Yeah,
what it's cracked up to be.
yeah.
Well,
It's extra unfortunate if a student incurs debt and then doesn't use it to pursue a career.
Yeah,
So this is kind of where we're at with some of this information on what we're doing. So we're working through a continuous skill improvement. And asking, and the building leadership team, and then over time, it will expand to the board and community and other focus groups, but really focusing on 5 big questions. Where are we now? How did we get to where we are? Where do we want to be? How are we going to get to where we want to be? And then what is it that we are doing that's making a difference? Kind of that reflective question. So we've been working on this now for a little bit. And we have examined where we are now. We've looked at current demographics and in leadership. And I just shared with you how students are doing, some of the diagnostic data. And then we've also, the building leadership team has looked at some historical demographics. So we're at the point in the process where we're going to start digging into how do we do business, perceptions, culture, climate, values, and beliefs. While simultaneously examining our processes, our instructional programs, our organizational programs, and our school improvement plan. And so all of this will help us determine where we want to go and how we identify ourselves and what students need. And so over the coming months, there'll be an increase in surveys going out to students and families and community members, especially around the culture, climate, values, and beliefs of the district. As we work towards examining our mission statements and our vision statement and seeing if they reflect who we are now and who we want to become.
so our school improvement plan, it's kind of new for us, and you've put a lot of work into that. And getting that in place. Is that something you continually work on, or is it set now and then you're gonna improve it at the end of the year, improve it at a certain point in time?
So it's a cycle. So we will do a mid-year check-in around January on the 25-26 school improvement plan. And right around February, we will start writing goals for the 26-27, and we'll be doing both for the second half of the year. We will be both examining how we're doing and looking forward to where we need to continue to improve. So it is this constant cycle of plan, implement, evaluate, and then like redesign, and then like, right, so just this constant cycle.
So one of the things the board has to do is a self-assessment. We briefly talked about this at our last meeting, and I brought a form that we can start to fill out. But what I learned in that is that the board needs to be very knowledgeable of our school improvement plan, what's in it, and if it's going where we want, et cetera. So it will be part of our. We have so many things that we could talk about in our strategic planning workshop sessions. But the school improvement plan is something the board really needs to. I know, I don't know anything at the top of my head about it. So we need to have it at the top of our head somehow.
Attendance is a big one.
And,
I like the way you presented that.
Thanks. Yeah. So there's just a couple of more next steps that I want to share with you, just so that you know what is happening in the district and what I'll be coming to you with. So we're gonna continue to work through the continuous improvement framework. We're gonna continue to look at, like, who we want to be, culture and climate, but then we're also gonna be looking at how did we get to where we are? What is working? What is not working? Where do we want to be? And the big question behind this one, and I think this will be one that the board will be heavily involved with, is why do we exist? Like, why are we here? Especially given our unique circumstances, with both a high number of students who are choice transfer, and then our academy PCIA. And then where do we want to go? And then how are we going to get to where we want? So how will we implement the strategies? So lastly, together, the leadership team, the staff, the families, the community, and the board, and myself, we're going to continue to use data to understand our students deeply. We're going to clarify where we want to go as a district. We'll continue to build systems that support every student in every classroom every day. We will monitor our progress with honesty and curiosity, and we will continue to adjust practices to ensure all students grow. And that's really the heart of the plan, implement, evaluate, and improve cycle of continuous improvement. And then, because that's why we do that. That's the best slide.
you know, we have so much to do as a board, so many things to look at and talk about. And, you know, I know a strategic planning session is, you know, something we've been talking about. It's probably gonna take many sessions. Well, what if we just took a half hour at each meeting to address one question or one issue or one situation or whatever that Kelly would bring to us as she goes through the school improvement plan and works with our leaders in our school. Seems like that might be a good way, rather than trying to always find a day everybody can get together. But so please think about that. Maybe that's a way we could move forward a little faster and do our job.
A little late to tell me.
Hey, we love you to bring your comments, put them in writing,
Yeah.
send emails, join a meeting.
I apologize for the super long presentation, but it was 2 months worth, so, and I didn't want to miss any.
Yeah,
It was good.
it's interesting because when a student, think about myself, right? When a student comes into college already at the point where they're like, oh, here's where you choose your major. That's the right thing for some students. It makes it harder for others. I think you're right. The majority of students drop out the first semester or the first year. But part of that is being ready academically. Part of that is being ready to be on your own and make wise decisions. And we can only do so much on that front, no matter where the student is in their progress. But we're providing an opportunity that's a tremendous benefit.
Absolutely.
For some students.
Correct. So.
How do we better, is there places to better prepare or add more value for the students, for other students?
And really defining our mission, our values, our beliefs, I think will be important in this process.
Right.
Because as people look to Mill A School District and PCIA as one of their options, we really need to ensure that we are very clear about what we offer so that what we have in a small school, in a collaborative style learning educational institution where where it works, right? Because we want to have the students of our program will help thrive, and we want our program to help all students here thrive. And it's like this delicate balance, because we don't have this economy of scale
Right.
where we're doing it with 500 to 1,000 students. So we have to be really clear about our mission.
Yeah, and we're providing something, we're supposed to be providing something different, which isn't necessarily gonna be the right choice for everybody. So how do we help students make that choice as well?
And how do we attract the students that we are the right choice for?
Right.
And I think that part of that answer needs to be able to clearly define what we're offering and what we're expecting.
Do you think the economy had something to do with it? There's a lot of people struggling. Things are tight for a lot of people. And that could have part of the factor in it too.
It could, it might have. Again, I think we're offering, students a significant benefit by shortening the university experience and cost. I think that for people who like finances are a potential concern, the fact that they can do half of their college degree for free is a significant benefit, which means that they could, if they needed to take out loans to complete their degree, get half of the loans by having completed here. And again, my question is, oh my goodness, did we set someone up where they took out a year's worth of loans and then realized they weren't prepared? Now we've set someone up to have loans and then not complete the degree that they plan on using to get them. And again, I don't have that. I didn't dig in any deeper, right? Like, I don't know. The numbers are too small to even share that
Extremely
anyways.
small sample.
But like,
Yeah.
but the idea is that we can confidently say, when you graduate from our school, you're ready. Like, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
College career ready. Like, that they're gonna go and they're gonna thrive in whatever comes next.
I was
for them.
just thinking, what was it? 20% that didn't
Yeah.
finish. It's probably not anything that the school has done or anything. It's just the way the chips
We don't
fell with
Might be.
finances.
If we dig in, that might be what we find out.
May I add, Anita, that not to speak out of turn, but just, I am so grateful for that data.
Right.
I think that is data that we have needed the last X number of years, and I think it's so important to be tracking where our graduates go and what happens for these very reasons. So to me, it's very exciting that we have it and we can see. I think it's been in a lot of ways a tremendous success, which doesn't mean we can't focus on some of the areas that maybe have improvement. And of that 20%, maybe that's the right thing. That could be the best case. It's hard to say.
It's not enough data yet.
Right, it
Yeah.
could be exciting, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah.
we've put together a program that like allows the students to go to college have half of the failure rate of the national average, right? Like, that could be like where we're at, or it could be like, there's
I
these
also
opportunities for
think
growth.
It's hard as I think about coming on the board, like. I think what's so important for us as a district is to kind of meet a little bit, and again, I just have a particular focus on the kids in our district, because I think that's who we have to focus on first and foremost. Of who they are and what they need, and that might not be, I wonder if as much it can be as set in stone, like this is what it is. It might be something that changes and be quite different, like we might have a strong focus on providing college and the high school experience, and that's gonna benefit to a large degree certain students. While at the same time, we have some students that maybe college isn't their future, but they can have a tremendous, very positive experience that's gonna help them in their life. So I think it can be a few different things, although we do, certainly have to build some focus around it. But I'm just super excited to see that we have that data starting to collect, and I think we should continue to do that in the future.
And I think that the questions you bring up, I don't want to get lost. I'd like to have the board have some kind of discussion every meeting, just on this whole broad subject of what do you need, how's it going, what can the board do? I think that's real important. Keep us active, keep us involved, keep us knowledgeable, which is hard. So not hard because we don't learn, it's hard because we go home to another job or another obligation. We're not here every day. So, yeah, there's a lot of questions that Kelly's asking us that, we need to make sure we're following through on that.
I think with the new high school and beyond plan, it captures a lot of the information that will help make this data useful over time. Like some of the questions like, did they go to college because they thought they were supposed to, or was it really what they wanted? Like, right, there's that. So like, again, all it did for me was I have a lot of wonderings, like, right?
Sure.
I don't have a theory even, I just have a lot of questions. But I want to make sure that we're asking them so that we're always reflecting upon our practice to make sure that we're offering students the absolute best experience.
There's also, out of those four that graduated college, I know two of them are going back to get their master's degrees this year.
Before I lose this thought, maybe the others can hear, I almost think it's worth paying our graduates like $100 a year to complete a survey. It might be an expansive survey, but just to follow them, like to build a 5-year track record of where our graduates go and what they do, if we could get them like. I think it's very helpful. If you get the nuance, like what you're saying, they're like, oh, well, maybe they did drop out for a year, or they did something else, but they went back and they continued, like, there's a lot that could be learned.
So like like you would have been in that 20% on.
I totally would have been in that 20%. Absolutely. I went to college right after high school. I was not academically or emotionally prepared. I made it a semester. I went on and had an incredible career for 15 years and then decided I was not doing the right thing. I went back to college and now, right? And then obviously pursued a significant amount of education.
Sure.
20 years later, like, right? So like, again, like, I am not here to say that every student needs to leave here and go get a, like, that is not what I believe at all. But I believe that every student should leave here absolutely ready to thrive with whatever comes next for them. Like, right, absolutely ready to thrive. If they want to go to college and complete college, they should be able to do that 100%, because they should have come out of an institution that prepared them for that level of education. If they want to go to a trade school, they should come out of here curious and ready to learn that. If they want to go straight and take what they learned here and go get a career and thrive, they should be able to take what they learned here and do that. If they want to go join the military and serve, they should feel confident and have all of the skills to go do that.
I think that's why our PCIA document says something to the effect of, we want our students to be confident to move forward and make their decision. It's not worded like that, it's worded much nicer, much better. But basically, we're not only giving them the opportunity to go to college because they have saved themselves money, but we're getting kids ready to make a decision and confident in making a decision.
Absolutely.
So I started a business, right? So in this business, I want to talk to too many people every day on the phone. And one of the biggest problems that I have is people do not have a grasp on hearing what you say. I can say something to somebody, I can be in this conversation with somebody, and I can specifically say something very narrow, and the next thing out of their mouth is a question, and I just told them the answer.
Every day, Keith, every day.
It's just ridiculous how many people don't hear what you say. So I can imagine what these teachers are going through.
Sorry.
You want to just shake them,
No, nobody listens to me at my house.
get a big box of rocks and listen.
That isn't our policy, right? Shake 'em-
The shake them in the
with a
box
big
of rocks, I do believe that is forbidden in our policy.
Okay, how about,
So, yeah.
how about Nerf balls or something, you know, something soft?
But when we're talking about these kids, not everybody comes out of that grade level going into high school at the level that you would hope that they would be. And they're not ready. And even when they come out of high school, not all of them, a very few of them are really ready to decide what they want. And
Yeah, that
so in a way, this gives them opportunities to figure out some things, but still maybe not know what they want to pursue.
But they're still 18 years old when they graduate trying to pick a major.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the wonderings that's one of my questions.
Mhm.
I needed 20 years more than that to figure out what I wanted to be when I
And
grew
I
up.
think,
So
yeah,
that is one of the things that that's why I say we need to approach this with curiosity and just continue to ask questions and dig in and be reflective and just constantly hone in on our craft to make sure that we're
Well,
doing.
college is so much easier when you're in your thirties and forties. Way,
And that's where I'm also working full time and raising a family.
yeah.
So
What percent of our students graduate with their 2-year associates with one?
I don't have that data off the top of my head, Jessica might know it.
3?
I think the full 2 years
Oh, I forgot.
fairly low,
It is
Yeah.
fairly low.
but the percentage that
With some
with
colleges,
some credits
yeah.
is quite
It's
high.
very,
Yeah.
very, very.
I don't know how many out of Matthew's class graduated with it. There were 3 before last year's graduating class.
I mean,
Yeah, like
elated it, but that's. because they
Matthew
got 2
didn't
years.
get the full AA because of just one little thing, but he had the 90 credits, so.
Sure.
And by the way, all of this stuff transferred in just great, and so that all worked fine, but. Yeah, like I think we'd probably do better in terms of the completion rate, to the AA or the 2-year, but we do have a lot of students who've gotten a lot of college
And
credit.
then a lot of students that are right there. We have a couple, I know like last year's graduating class, there are a couple that we still are in contact with them being like, you need to get in here and fill out your FAFSA. And then you need to get an online class. And we will find space for you to finish it. Like
Oh, that's awesome.
we will let you, like, right, we're working with a couple students, where like, we will let you borrow a laptop, you can come. You can be on
Oh,
campus,
that's very
you can
cool.
go,
Right.
like. Right, like, once an owl, always an owl, I guess, right? Is
Yeah.
that what we're going with? So, we aren't gonna let them go. If they're that close and it's something that, we know we can help them
Great.
through, especially if it'll be,
It's a good asset to have.
yeah, they're all right. So.
Well, if the student has that attitude and wants to get it finished, that's great, that we can help them.
We will do everything that we can to support our current students and our alumni and our community in general, so.
And some of our students came in, like you said, Elena and Noah, they only had the 2 years of PCIA.
Right.
We had a couple others that transferred in like their junior year of high school, so they just didn't have the.
We have a-
But she had a full year and a half of college in those 2
Right.
years, because she like did a high load for those 2 years.
Right.
And that is one of the benefits, is that because our courses are spread out. Like they can almost overload if. For some students that are,
That would have been a horrible decision for my son. It
right,
was- it
for
was- it
some
was a
students,
good decision
that is,
for my son.
that is a good decision, because the pace is a little bit slower. For some students, even at the slower pace, it is not a good decision. We have to really tailor what we're doing. So. All right, are we ready to move
Well,
on?
Yeah.
that's,
Thank you, Kevin.
Can we take?
any more question? Pardon?
Can we take? a quick
I
break?
think that's a good idea. Let's take a 5-minute break at
never mind. So I just Googled their name and it gave me her address, gave me her phone number, it's everything's on Google. So.
That is true.
Okay, Kelly, what's next? for us?
Okay, all right, here we go. Next thing. So, a lot of really great things are going on in the district right now. I'm super impressed with, how from kindergarten all the way through our seniors, we're digging into our character traits of the month. In October, we focused on responsibility. In November, we're focusing on gratitude. So like our K-8 assembly is based around it. We're giving a lot of awards around it. There's posters all around it. The adults are really focusing in on like how to be responsible and then like how to show gratitude. We had classes writing letters to veterans for Veterans Day, expressing gratitude. It was really sweet. Both my husband and my son are veterans, so they both received letters in the mail, which was really just a wonderful experience for my family. So a lot of great things going on. We had the Skamania County Fire Department come out for Fire Prevention Week. There was a picture at the end of the slideshow of one of those. The kids loved it. They brought Sparky the dog, or Sparky the dog. It was awesome. So thank you very much to our great firefighters. We had a great day. We've got a ton of field trips going on. Biodiversity's gone to the Deschutes, Steigerwald, Convoy, Columbia River, the John Day, Trout Creek, Rowena Crest. Our English field trips, we have a ton of those going on. Miss Brooks is taking students to events with Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, with Percival Everett. They've gone to the Japanese garden. So students are getting
Is that during the school day?
the biodiversity ones are during the school day. The English ones are in the evening. Although we did learn that when you let freshmen stay out till 11 o'clock, they're a little bit less likely to get their work done the next day. So maybe 11 o'clock's a bit much for our freshmen.
Is that an excuse for getting it?
Well, when we got to day 2, I said, maybe we'll rethink our field trip policy, and they all went, no, we're good. We are nearing the end of grading period 2 for PCIA. So every 30 days, we will be sending out progress reports. I will say we had some learning curve to how to print them. So my apologies to all the parents who got a progress report after grading period 1, and they all look different or they were challenging to read. Grading period 2 is shaping up to be a more parent-friendly version of the progress report. So, improvement every step of the way. We also had conferences. We had great turnout. The team had great conversations with family about the amazing things that students are doing, and ways that we're supporting them. So that was really great. We had PCIA go to the National College Fair. We've got an active PCIA booster club now with their Owls After Dark events, really trying to build cohesiveness and relationships within our secondary students. We had a very important presentation on fentanyl prevention. We offered a parent meeting in advance where parents could preview the material that would be shared with 7th through 12th graders.
Was that well attended?
The parent meeting, I believe we had 6 families attend online and we had 0 families opt students out. So all of our 7th through 12th graders who were at school on the day of the presentation all attended. And it was a really great opportunity for them to get together and learn about the dangers of fentanyl. When I personally watched the presentation and I learned quite a few things, so it was great. We also have the final financial statement for the fiscal year 24-25. And so I will just read a few of the ending total fund balances. And then I will give it to Ms. Manning for the minutes. The general fund ending balance on 24-25 was $972,400.56. ASB 10,980.12. Capital Project Fund, $206,601.20. Transportation Vehicle Fund, $109,799.65. For a total of $1,299,781.50. And I'll make sure that, Ms. Manning has that for the minutes. We also are, certified that Mill A has, determined that there are no safe walking routes to and from school because we have no sidewalks and no streetlights, and so all of our students are eligible to ride the bus, even if they're within the 1 mile distance where if we had safe routes, they would be walkers. And I probably should have saved all the fun stuff for the end instead of doing it this way. So maybe I'll have to think of another couple of positive things before I finish, but our roof currently has some challenges. And so we have a quote for getting it fixed, although we are looking at
Great.
potentially looking to get a full replacement. So we submitted for a grant, an urgent repair grant. We submitted for that for the cost of the full replacement. So I hope to have more updates for you in December at where we're at. The bid for the just fixing the urgent needs is under $20,000. Obviously a full repair is significantly more, so I'm hoping that we'll get the grant and we'll be able to move forward with that. We also submitted for a grant for ADA equal access. That would give us door upgrades, because right now we have turn knobs and they should all be levers. So we submitted that grant. And we submitted a grant for school security and preparedness infrastructure to give us a PA system and some security improvements to help us further comply with Alyssa's law. So we are in compliance with Alyssa's law, thanks to our two-way radios. However, there are limitations on that, and we would be much better served by having a PA system where the office could make an announcement immediately to all staff.
Question on the roof repair, is that something that can wait until good weather next spring or summer, or is?
Yeah, how bad is it?
Well, we have blisters that have air trapped under the roofing material, which is causing the material to lift and become locked in the lifted position. So I will continue to get more information and better understand if we don't get the grant, how we need to proceed.
So we have a rubber membrane or
Mhm.
rubber.
Yeah,
Were we talking earlier in the year about building like trying to get a grant, to build like maybe a second story on part of the roof?
well, we have the small district modernization grant, but it doesn't allow us to go up. We can't, when that grant does finally come through, we're just waiting for it to be funded. That does not allow us to build up or change the footprint.
But we did talk about options of things we'd like to do, but we don't have funding sources
Yeah, I
for.
thought we were gonna apply.
You know,
for
things
it.
like, well, first another pod, but then the other one was like covered walkway between here and the pods. Filling in this playground and creating another covered playground. You know, we talked about a variety of different things, but we don't have a real, a priority list, and we don't have funding options identified for those things.
It's looking like it'll be the next biennium before that grant is funded. I also wanted to make everyone aware that we had our drinking water tested, as we were required to do. For lead, we had 2 faucets in the building come in higher than what is considered safe. One of those faucets came in, that is in the intervention room, so it is labeled hand washing only permanently, that's the solution. The other one was the newly installed sink in the fine arts room. It is currently turned off because the lead test results were 22 parts per billion ppb, I'm not positive. Which makes it so that the required action was to turn it off. Since then, we have started the remediation and done a continuous flow, and are scheduled to have it retested. So when it's retested, we will know whether it needs further work, is labeled hand wash only, or is deemed safe at that point. It being brand new, and the sink that it is attached to, where the pipe, like literally it comes, the water comes in, goes into the history room, that sink passed. The only pipe from there is brand new to the new sink that did not pass.
Hmm.
So it is highly likely that the faucet had not been used enough.
Okay, but so by letting it flow. So what
So
do we do in the future? Let it drip?
we just needed to clean it out. It just needed to be cleared out.
Oh, okay.
So once it passes, then it's fine. So we did, one of the options is to do, they call it a 72-hour trickle. So that is what we decided to do. We've already done it, and we're just waiting for, the department, to come back out and retest. So we've done the mitigation measures. The sink is still shut off. The one that is in the conference room, we can't even really get to it because the table is blocking it, but it is labeled hand wash only. And I don't know that I could tell you the last time someone actually used it to wash their hands. So
So on that one, it's gotta be the plumbing.
it could, yeah, I'm not sure. It came in at, the tests were, the results were 10 ppbs. So it was not, as high as the other one. And all of the other things, all of the other outlets passed. So it's, yeah. And it could be with that one that it never, ever gets used. Like, I don't know, you can't get to it. There's a table that literally butts up to the counter. So I don't know the last time it was run before that test.
Hmm.
So,
I've washed my hands with that machine.
you did this year?
I washed a couple of minutes.
Well, I stand
But other than
corrected.
that-
I stand corrected. I guess it gets used a couple of times a year by staff, but it's labeled hand wash only.
So it's not at the top of the priority list for repairs at this point. Okay.
The roof is. And then the only other thing, and it is the next item on the agenda is, our supplemental contracts for our wonderful advisors who have been very patient. It was on the agenda the last time, but I apologize for not having them in your packets. They were in mine.
So I have those. I can go over those if you'd like us to discuss and make a decision.
That would be lovely, please.
Okay, so I have one for, these are supplemental contracts. They're all identical. Other than the first one here is for Liz Brooks, Associated Student Body Advisor. Compensation will be prorated on the number of calendar days between August 20th and to the documented date of the club dissolution.
Yeah, if it's not completed.
Okay, this one is for Jeff Hawkins as a Robotics Club Advisor with the same time frame. This one is for Ryan Van Duzer as Science Club Advisor. This one is for Ryan Duzer as the Knowledge Bowl Coach Advisor. This one is for Liz Brooks as a Yearbook Club Advisor. And so they are all paid a pro rata based on their salary in the calendar
Yeah,
days.
so it is,
There is
part
a
of the
math here.
there is part of the CBA, it was negotiated, so there is a percentage of the base wage for certificated staff that the club advisors get. That's
So
where
when it
the,
says contract amount, is that the total?
that's the
amount?
total.
So the total amount, I should have read that offhand, for knowledgeable advisor, total amount $2,181. For the science club advisor, total amount $3,272. For the robotics club advisor, $5,453. For the student body advisor, contract amount $4,908. And for the yearbook club advisor, contract amount $2,727.
So how come the prices are different? Because how many years they?
It's based on, so in the CBA,
So to that way, to this way, so you could take a look at what the contract looks like.
they negotiated a percentage of the teacher's base pay for the different clubs. So like one club would get 3% of a teacher's base pay, and that was negotiated based on the expected amount of time that it would, the club advisor would spend doing those duties. So like, the more hours that are expected to be put in, the higher percentage was negotiated. I did think of one other thing to share that is very exciting. Our CBA with the classified union, we were able to reach an agreement for the 2.5 IPD for increases for wages. There was a delay in getting it implemented. There was some other negotiations that happened over the summer, but on September 11th, I reached out to the union, to PSC and the chapter president, and offered to do 2.5 IPD to see if we could negotiate that via email instead of having an actual negotiating meeting. Received a response on October 1st, accepting that. And then I requested a Schedule A from them on October 2nd. A week later, I had not gotten a response back, so I had Kristen put one together and I sent them a district created Schedule A on October 8th. I checked back in on October 30th. I checked back in on November 10th. And at that point, I asked payroll to move forward with because we had a written agreement for the percentage and the increase. I asked payroll to move forward with the Schedule A that Kristen put together. Having tried.
So did you tell them silence is golden? If you don't answer, it's going.
I said something a little bit nicer, but also, I did check with payroll, like, should they come back and say, there's a rounding, it really should be a penny more.
Just make an adjustment.
Potentially make that adjustment, but, I felt like at this point, our team really deserves to have their wages increased for the year. I understand that there's a lot going on, with, PSC had a lot of things going on. Well, this is for this year, so their, wages are each year. But I wanted to make sure that we got that as soon as possible. So hopefully, what I was told was they should see their increase in their November paycheck. And I asked our payroll person to work as hard as possible to get the back pay to them in their December paycheck. He's not positive that that will happen because of the calculations that go into it, but we're trying to get it as quickly as possible. So the good news is it's done.
Okay, so we probably should have a motion to approve supplemental contracts for our yearbook club advisor, our science club advisor, our knowledgeable advisor, our robotics club advisor, and our student body ASB advisor, with the pay under the CBA, as delineated in our CBA. Does that make it pretty clear, you think? Okay. Not reading off the amount for each one.
Yeah.
Again,
So moved.
is it moved? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the 5 supplemental contracts for these extracurricular activities. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, they are approved. These signatures, please.
We almost have.
Okay. All right, let's move on to policies.
First reading.
I think we only have the three that we,
We're tabled, that
that were tabled
Yep. Yeah.
till the December meeting.
That's exactly right. So that makes that pretty darn easy. So any public comment based on anything you've heard or forgot to say earlier? Okay, let's skip 8 and go on to 9, old business, new business, or good for the order. I have a letter that the board received. It's really comments for the board's consideration. It says, I'm concerned about the how unwelcoming the school parking lot feels. The big large signs screaming do not enter and the reserved parking spaces at the entrance give the impression that people are not welcome. This is a small school with only one bus, and there can't be that much of an issue with traffic flow. Because of this, the one-way entry and the prominent restrictions don't make much sense from a safety standpoint. Who are the reserved spaces for and why are they needed? Many staff members and students drive, so it isn't clear why these spots are blocked off. Having space reserved for visitors would be welcoming. Clarification of the purpose of these changes would be helpful as they're currently creating a negative first impression for families. So the board can discuss this now, or we can ask because I think the safety committee was involved to get this on the agenda for the next meeting, or what? Do you have any suggestions on how the board move forward and address it? Because I actually have to say that I agree. I don't care for the new reserved parking spots for certain people. I don't care for the.
I could speak to that. They're not reserved for anyone. They are reserved to prevent the white salmon parents from waiting in our parking while they drop.
But
families
that's
off.
not clear at all. It reads that way to me and I thought the same thing. I thought that makes parents who are coming to see somebody at the school feel they have to park way out, maybe not even in the whole parking lot, but you know, I wouldn't think
We can
it
take those.
doesn't seem welcome.
We can take the reserve signs down. They were put up because we were having parents parking there and then they would pull out as our staff would be driving past them to park. Then their bus would leave and our staff would be parked in the back instead of.
It seems like
I've
staff
always-
member would be here before the bus, but
I've always seen somebody in those spots. Yeah, it seems like the same.
The fire truck, when we pull out, will be coming out the wrong way.
yeah, the fire truck.
And when we pull in down there, so we can back in.
Yeah, I think the arrows on the pavement are sufficient. You know, there's no reserved parking for anything except 15-minute temporary visitor parking at the county courthouse. Nobody has their own parking spot, no judge, no sheriff, no nobody. And the school's been here since 1962, back when we had 80 students or more and people coming and going and coming and going. And I think that especially the exit only signs, those are atrocious. Those are really bad.
Oh, I don't mind that at all. I think the entering in one spot and exiting.
I think it's wrong for the fire truck.
Bill, you think it should be the other way
Do
around?
not enter sign?
Huh?
You think it should be the other way around?
Well, the fire truck can't go any other way, just like the bus is limited
No, I
on how it
understand.
goes, yeah.
And
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can, but if the parking lot's full of parked cars, it's hard to turn around and back in.
And it can't
Yeah,
get
I
out
can-
any other way.
I can see that, be an exception.
I'm surprised anybody pays attention to it. I don't.
Yeah.
The road,
Actually, the entry.
The one-way
sign,
sign, I'm only
because it's
going
over
one
on the
way.
right and I'm looking to the left. It's the exit signs are just way too big and glaring. They're real giant.
I don't have a problem with that part.
So,
Well, I guess I would prefer to hear, like. The change you're talking about, how does it affect the? The staff experience, the student experience and the school day, because that. You know. There's an impression. That. You've gotten. Coming and
We got
seeing
it,
it, but like. Is it addressing a problem? Is it helping a problem that was worse
Are you
before?
talking about asking the safety committee?
Well, I was,
Because if you got-
or Kelly,
Well, if you got a safety committee, why is it set up the way it is? Maybe they have a reason. I don't know.
I guess that's what we need to know.
Yeah.
I mean,
if
been
what,
coming here a lot of years and I've never had a problem, but I'm not here when the school is the busiest.
Yeah.
well, we never had students who drove earlier. All
Well,
those
we've
years-
had students who drive for 7 years now. So.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure, no, I understand.
but yeah,
And we can have arrows on the ground and most people follow them, but, yeah,
all that has to happen is you go through once and you see you're going the wrong way, you know. You've got to see it at some point when you're going by.
Seems like maybe there's three issues, if I may, like there's the reserved signs, which is an issue. And then maybe there's the flow of traffic, and then there's the signs for the flow, and I wondered. I kind of despise the signs just because I live across from it, and it's like, the do not enter is
Yeah,
like
they're
such an
all-
eyesore, but that's purely personal. But it struck me that must have been a county thing,
no,
that they put them up, it's the
No.
school, okay,
No,
okay, I
that
didn't know.
had to be requested.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, anyway.
All the slow, the ones that say slow school, that's the. But, you know,
I can say the traffic pattern with the bus, if it was reversed, students would have to cross in front of the bus. Which would create a hazard because anyone pulling in and out of the parking lot. Like, right, so the part of the reason it is that flow is so that the bus can pull up to the.
But we've been doing that for
Right,
years.
but that's why the in is where the in is and the out is where the
Yeah,
out
yeah,
is,
yeah,
like, right?
and I don't like, if the fire trucks need to go the other way, throw on your lights and go the other way,
Correct.
like, that's the exception, they can go whatever way they want.
Yeah, very good. But they don't have to follow the rules, they just have to put on their emergency signal.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think there can be exceptions.
But the arrows on the ground have worked just fine. That bus has been doing just fine for eons.
It's the cars that go the wrong way. We've had multiple cars drive past students loading and unloading on the bus even. So the traffic pattern in the parking lot during student time has not always been
See,
safe.
And
I'd be
that's when you
happy to
probably
have
more.
The student or a safety committee representative come and present to the board next month.
Yeah, because the cars, so the way they're coming in, the way it's signed now, the cars are coming in behind the bus.
I actually, if I may, find that a little unsafe, maybe it's less of an issue. But I always get nervous pulling in that when the bus is there, I really crawl past the bus because I'm worried a kid's gonna come
Yeah,
out.
because you've got everybody coming in from behind the bus.
Right,
Where they can't see the kids. If they were the other direction, they'd at least be able to see them.
But then how's the bus gonna get its door to open to the main door?
Well, no,
Be facing the other-
nobody's asking the bus to
Oh,
change.
okay, I got it.
It's just the other cars that are in the parking lot at the
Well,
same
how
time.
arrows you are.
no, you're saying you'd have the bus go opposite the traffic?
No, I'm saying right now, the bus sits in front of the school with the door to the school
Yeah.
and people entering are coming in behind the bus.
Right,
Because that's where the entry is.
but
And kids are crossing in front of the bus to go to their cars, parents' cars.
yeah, I guess wasn't an issue, people coming in what is now a do not enter, like that never struck me as a big issue, but maybe I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think any of us.
Do you mean an issue as in was it happening or was it an issue as in was it causing?
Well, it
problems?
was common practice, so I don't think it was ever disallowed. I guess when I say was it an issue is, did it create safety incidents that people were doing?
Why don't we, I will ask someone from the safety committee to come and present in December.
Yeah, I guess that
Yeah,
would be.
because if you,
So that's
if the
an
bus is
adjusted
there and you drive in where the exit is now, you can clearly see all the students.
Right,
If you drive in where the entry is now, you can't see anything because the bus blocks your entire view.
right, that's why, like, again, personally, and maybe I should, speaking out of turn, but like. I drop kids off almost every day here, so to me, it feels safer to have people come in what is now the exit, because if you're dropping a kid via car, you're further away from the bus and where it's all dropping. So I would often go in and out that same way. Like anecdotally, I
Okay.
would avoid that area down there, because I don't, the bus just makes me nervous.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. But
I don't
I
like
guess I
people do that.
presume, even though I personally don't like the do not enters, and I think it's all a little too formal, and I personally don't like the reserved either. But if it's for a safety thing and there's been incidents, well then, okay, we should certainly hear that and listen to that. I just. wasn't
And then
aware
let
that we had those.
whoever has complained.
Well, I
Did
checked-
did
I
we have
checked
any
this-
accidents or anything?
Not that we've heard about.
I think the best thing would be to have the safety committee representative come and speak to the board.
Yeah, no, so I drove other parking lots and their exit and entry signs are nothing like our exit only signs. They're small, they sit right there, kind of at the, just above the ground and,
Right.
yeah.
Like at the courthouse.
Courthouse is just very, very
Too narrow.
friendly and
And that way
open.
out that
Can
way.
I get a copy of the letter so I can ensure that we
Yes.
address their
Yeah, I can make a
concerns?
copy of the letter. So anyway, we will, follow up on that, on discussion on that at, the first meeting, if, someone from the safety committee could come visit us. So we'll make sure that's on the agenda. I'm sure that if anybody had the Pioneer, they know the election results. We have, 3 elected, board members, 2 new, myself and Joan and John. Congratulations, John.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I don't think I have any notes for anything else for the good of the order or new business. We will at the next meeting, of course, have our oath of office. We'll have a pledge of allegiance, then the oath of the office. And then we'll have officer elections. Yeah.
No, I was scratching my eye,
Oh.
sorry.
I just saw movement out of the corner of my eye. And now I will pass around document signing because there seems to be quite a few here today. I'll let you two share it and then we'll pass it to the other side of the table to share. How about that? And then we'll get lost quite as much. Any reason for this? No, I think. Oh, I do. Yeah, I think this was started. I know I had something right here.
Were they 5 minutes?
Oh,
yeah. Everything was.
You guys have been an issue.
Yeah.
Ah,
So you guys say, she says with a bullet board.
What are your policies?
What?
What are your policies?
Policies,
Yeah, that were in the.
they're in there. Yeah. They got table.
They're not in.
Keep going. Oh, close policy.
Give them back. Give them back.
Give them back.
I think you took it home last time.
Get in trouble.
to the new board members?
Yeah, I think I let.
I think
He
you
doesn't
took
get to
it
keep
home
it.
with last year, or last.
No. I'm gonna send the signature
Oh, just looks
envelope.
all over.
They don't. I'm gonna send the signature envelope down, but I'm also gonna talk at the same time. I just put together a real quick, kind of a timeline process because we do need to do our self-evaluation. And, process that the board goes through to be prepared to do the budget. So I'll just pass that out. So if you don't think
That's
about that.
I could go, put them on the wall
And this is a draft, of course, but it's.
with all the others.
Well, you don't need it. It's something
You
that,
could give John one.
yeah, I'll
Yeah,
give
you
John
can
one.
Yeah.
It's something you can have in the back of the mind, because before you know it, it's gonna be January, we're gonna be in a panic of how do we get everything done. Well, it has to be done, and meanwhile, we'll work with Kelly to make sure that we have a good, budget process timeline, because, of things that have to be done. And one of the things we have to do, of course, is our superintendent evaluation after we do our self-evaluation, so. And then talking about self-evaluation, it's always been really tough because the questions they ask are very hard to answer. So I just went through the policy and came up with things, and I'm hoping that you will just write comments, recommendations for the future board, recommendations on what you think the board needs to be able to do these, just very, very, very general overview of board responsibilities. So if you could just bring that back to the next meeting, that'd be super.
I hate those.
Okay, so the next thing,
Thank you.
What's this?
I lost my agenda.
Here you go.
Where did
You
it
can have
go?
mine.
Do we have an executive session?
Oh, enjoy, thank you.
No, we have no need for an executive session tonight that I am aware of, or the executive session we had, there's been no follow up or anything on that. So
Budget
I
process.
think we're ready to go on to,
Here, you better have this.
we'll make sure that we start thinking about,
I know.
things we have to decide in our
I haven't
December
done
meeting,
anything.
which will be when will we have our January and February meeting? They need to be moved because of the holidays.
Well, I think we should discuss when to, have a rescheduled retreat.
No, I might
Yes,
not. The next
exactly.
meeting is one.
That's on here, that's on my
I'm headed
next list.
Down where it's a Walmart.
Is a strategic planning session, and like to have a.
Stay down
Hour
until
each
Christmas.
meeting to talk about some key elements, perhaps, we'll see how everybody feels. And so that will be the December discussion. And help yourself to whatever you're looking for. I thought I had one, take it back. Like that? Yeah. It did put one over there. You did, but then it was. Then I thought, well, how come I didn't print one for you now? I'm going home and print it. These are just things to think about, trying to get, to stimulate comments. Anything else for the good of the order? Any other comments, questions? Yeah, John.
The strategic planning, we're just sort of tabling until next time we're gonna discuss time.
Yeah,
Okay.
until you and Joan are,
Okay,
and we've got the holidays coming up, I don't.
yeah.
But I would encourage Diane and Keith to attend, you know,
Absolutely, yeah.
if they'd like to, or send written comments or anything else, because they've been with us for 2 years, 3 years, 3 years,
2 years,
2 years.
almost.
Yeah, and of course, you know, a lot of history here with Diane, so.
Sure, yeah.
And
Okay.
along that, I think that,
Yes, John.
and with what Kelly presented and everything, I think that we should have some sessions on PCIA, and is it doing what we want, and what do we want? I think all that should be rolled in. There's a lot to talk about. An awful lot to talk about, and I think it's phenomenal where Kelly's taking us, and we don't want to lose anything there, because there's so much opportunity there that we can see with the information we have.
I agree.
All right, well, I guess it's 8:04 and we're adjourned for the evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Dark.